Hi everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's soap making video where we're going to go and make Elysian. Now I have to admit this footage was filmed quite some time ago and it has just been waiting for me to do the introduction and put the final bits to the video so we can actually put it out. If you've been following along with some of the vlogs and recent posts that I've been doing, you'll know that I've had a little bit of an issue with having either the energy to do my computer work after I've finished up in the shop, and plus issues with the comfort of my desk at home. But we're slowly getting through all those issues, and hopefully I'll get on top of editing some of this footage that I do already have at home and start bringing the videos out a little bit more frequently for you again. But for today we're going to go and make Elysian, and the first thing we're going to do is make some embeds using some soap dough. Let's go. Alright, so I've already got started on making the little rocks to go on the top of the soaps, but I figured I'd better actually show you how I am doing these because I know you guys get upset if I don't show you. So I've got my little jeweler's scale and I've got some black soap dough. I started off with a piece that weighed about 0.8 and then I put another piece on and brought the scale up to 1.2. So basically it's 0.4 of a gram, and then I've got a third piece which brings my scale up to 1.4, so about 20 grams on that piece. I start with the largest piece, the 0.8 of a gram. I'm just going to roll it into a bit of a ball, and then I'm kind of just pushing it flat and into a rock sort of shape there. So that one is looking pretty good. I get my next piece, which is the 0.4 of a gram, and again I'm just going to do exactly the same, roll it into a ball and then push it into that flat rock. I'm also pushing it in at the sides because the hot massage stones tend to be a little bit more oval in shape, and they're going to sit on the top of the soap bar a lot better as an oval. All I'm going to do now is actually push those two together. Now my soap dough is actually quite soft at the moment, so it doesn't need anything else to help it stick together. But if your soap dough is a little bit dry, just put a little bit of water in between the layers and that helps the soap to stick together. I've got my final piece here. I'm just going to again pop that into a little rock shape onto the top, and then we have our little stack of rocks, and I'm going to keep doing that with all of these until I have 18 little rocks, and then we're going to make some hot towels as well to go on the top of this soap. Okay, so I have 18 little rock stacks all done up, and now we're going to move on to doing some little hot towels to go on the top of here as well. I have got some white soap dough. We might need all of it, but it'll be easier to work in smaller pieces, I think, for now. So let's just break that bit off. Going to give it a bit of a condition up to get it nice and soft. Right, so I'm just going to get some of my biodegradable film, cut a piece of that off, and we're going to pop our soap between the film, and then using a rolling pin I'm going to roll this out till it's about 2 mil in thickness. I like to do it between the wraps so that it doesn't stick to my bench or to my rolling pin, and every so often I do actually take it back out of the wrap as well, otherwise it gets a little bit tangled in there. But I'm just going to roll this out into as much of a square as I can possibly get it. Alright, so it's not very square, but it is nice and flat and thin. We're probably about just over 1 mil in thickness there. I've just grabbed my ruler, and what I'm going to do is just straighten up that one side on there, peel that out the way into our little pile. And I probably want them, yeah, about that sort of wide. I'm pretty much going to be eyeballing it here. Just using my steel ruler to cut through the soap. And we'll just kind of tidy up the ends so we've got a nice flat end. We'll do the same down there. And what I'm going to do is kind of, the first one I'm going to just roll from this big piece and see how much we kind of need to make a nice little towel. That's looking pretty good like so. I'm just going to cut that down and you can see we've got that little sort of roll of a towel there. And then what I'm going to do is just grab one of my tools here and just put a couple of little marks to make it look like the fluff that's on a towel. And I think when we put them on the soap, they're going to go that way. So let's concentrate a bit more on the top where these markings are going to be seen rather than on the bottom. So just put them, so they come down the sides a bit as well. We'll do under here. It just gives it a little bit more of a realistic sort of look. And now that I've got the first one, I can see that I've kind of like got almost 1.5 rolls. So I'll be able to do that again with this piece. So again, I'm just going to slowly roll it over a little bit more, and then we'll cut that piece off. And there is another little towel roll. And again, I'm just gonna dab all over the top just to give it a little bit of a rougher look that the toweling has. All right, so there is another one. Just gonna pop that one there, and I'm going to keep making those up until I have got all 18 of them. And in fact, that piece is a little bit thick. So as I say, I'll just roll it out a bit. I'm going to keep making these up until I've got 18 of them, and then we will get on to making our Elysian soap bar. And just discovered it's a bit easier to make those markings with a toothpick rather than my slightly bigger tool there. It just gives a bit more of a finer look and is a bit quicker to do as well. Okay, so I have all the rocks and the little towels ready to go, so let's get on with making this soap. I've got my oil and my lye water ready here. I am going to do a very simple swirl because I just want it to be nice and peaceful and relaxing. So we're going to use a base of white, and then I've got a couple of greens that will split it out for some colour once I've got all this mixed in. Okay, so I went a little bit silent on you there as I had a couple of customers walk in to the shop. What I have done is split it off for some colours. I have got some which is setting up very quickly. This one is elusive. We're going very, very quick on this one, so I don't think my design idea is going to work. Oh, let's see how we go. I also have some Olive Grove, which is not setting up quite as quickly, and we have some titanium dioxide as well. So I'm just going to kind of quickly move now because that one green is setting up fast. I have got some Extravagance Gold mixed in some oil, just pouring that straight into the mold there. Now that is going to be my way, so let's grab a clip so we can do a plip plop with our elusive green. It's being very elusive to me, the name of it. I am going to plip plop the entire lot of this into them. Oh my goodness, I had such grand plans for swirls and just pure relaxation, but no, It obviously doesn't like this particular green. Going to get that entire pot scraped out. I don't want any of that saved. Luckily, I'd already thought about putting a hanger through this. Oh, look, that olive grove is setting up too. Now, it did rice a little bit on me in the titanium dioxide, and it has riced just a tiny bit in here, I can see, but I'm not too bothered about it because when it rices, it does put a slight sort of exfoliation in there. Gave that a bit of a mix. Let's plippity plop that into the mold. Oh dear. Best laid plans always go AWOL, and I didn't even really have to stop for the customers that came in. They were just browsing. So that hasn't really affected the time on making this soap. It is purely this fragrance. Clearly it does not like green. I have used it a few times in soaps, and I've always had additives which I have thought is what actually affects the speed of trace, but clearly it is the green that it doesn't like. All right, we've just poured that in. I'm going to pop it on its side. I want swirls in here, so we're going to put our hanger through it and see what we can get. I think the gold's going to look really, really pretty through it. Oh, yeah, that should be about enough. It's one of those things you never really know. I often get asked, how many times should you put the hanger through? There is no number of times to put the hanger through on your soaps. You just kind of, you know, go for it. Do what feels right. Sometimes it looks really good. Sometimes you think, well, maybe I should have done a little bit more, but you never know until it comes time to cut the soaps. But the one good thing about this fragrance is it does smell really nice, which is why I have gone with this one as a spa-like fragrance. It's got some real green notes in there, nice, calm, relaxing, smells like a really nice spa. I'm going to get all of this white scraped out of here, and then the remaining gold that I've got that has been dispersed in some oil, I'm going to drop that on the top here, do a little bit of swirly with it, and then we'll come and put our embeds on. Alright, so the top is starting to come together just as I was kind of envisaging it would. I wanted a relatively flat top to sit my embeds on, and I just wanted to put these little gold drops. Can't play around with it too much because it is setting. So now that we've got those, I'm just going to use the top of that pipette just to swish that gold around. Not aiming for love hearts of any form, I'm just destroying the little heart. Alright, now that we've got all of the top done on there, it's time to put these little embeds. Going to grab my towel, making sure that the top of my towel or the top of the roll is on the top. And you know what, I'm going to put it at just a slight little angle. And then on the opposite, no, let's put it next to it so the little rocks are in the middle. And then the towel is off to the side. I think that is going to work nicely. Now I feel like I'm having a little bit of a moment today, so I think what we might just do is use my stainless steel ruler and put the markings on the top here so that I can actually get my embeds in the right place and we don't end up cutting any of them. Alright, now that we've got those markings on, I feel a bit better about getting these embeds, just making sure that they are stuck into the soap. I still have just enough working time on this white before it sets, which is a good job. I almost did the whole soap as green And I thought, no, work with white. And I'm so pleased I listened to my gut instinct and went with the white as my main colour so that I had enough time to stick these in beds, because if I'd used green, it would be all set up by now. So sometimes we just need to listen to our gut feelings when we're doing stuff and not go with our original plans. But I'm going to finish getting all these on, and once I do, I'll bring you in for a closer look. Okay, so there is Elysian in the mold, and I am really happy with how the top is looking. Got my fingers crossed that the inside is going to come up with lots of beautiful swirls as well. Now, I have mentioned in a couple of my videos before, I have stopped cleaning the edges of my molds, and that is because every time I go to clean them, I always manage to muck up the actual tops, and now I leave them, and when the soap is set up and I mold them, I then actually trim the edges to get them looking really nice again. But we're going to leave this one set up overnight, and we'll be back shortly and we'll take a look at the inside and see if we did manage to get any swirls. Okay, so we are back to cut into Elysian. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a few little air pockets in there because of how chunky it went, but it does smell really, really good. This fragrance oil might behave badly in the soap, but it does smell and hold so well, so it's definitely going to be worth it. I would like to have this as a bit more of a permanent scent in the soap range, so I'll definitely have to work out how to actually work with it. We've got it all lined up in Ida. Oh, and it's a little bit tougher than I was expecting. Let's take a look inside and see what we've got. Oh, that's very interesting how that has come up. I was expecting lots more really big, thick chunks, a bit more like that. But really, really happy. In fact, I probably should show you that way, because that's probably going to be what will be the front-facing part of this bar. So we've got the fold of the towel to the front. I'm really happy with how this one has actually come up. It's got those beautiful, rich, calming greens, and then you can see those streaks of gold going through the soap as well. Really, really pleased with that. I do have a few pieces of the gold on the side of the soap here. Once the soap's had a bit of a chance to dry out, so that people don't get gold all over them when using it, I am going to get just a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just rub off any of the excess once it's had that sort of opportunity to dry off a little bit. Because this did go so chunky on me, a lot of the that gold mica in the oil did push to the sides of the soap, whereas if it had been a lot more fluid, it would have actually mixed a lot more into the middle. But I'm really, really pleased with how it has come up. I am going to, as I said, try and keep this Elysian as a bit more of a permanent scent within the range. Given that it actually didn't accelerate that fast in the white. Sorry, I just had a customer come into the shop, but as I was saying, seeing as the fragrance did actually play relatively well in the white and also in this sort of lighter green, next time I make it, I might have a little bit of a play with the different green tones to see how the fragrance reacts, because sometimes it's actually just reacting to the different compounds which are in the colorants. So it is all fun and games doing little experiments here, but overall I am really happy with how the Elysian Soap Bar has turned out, and absolutely love the little tops. If you've enjoyed coming along with me, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.